me just quickly do this first. This has to be seen by everyone before we start, and that's what I showed everyone about the rainbow, and that's why I did all the stuff with the Wizard of Oz and Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which John should know absolutely that is what's coming, that is real, that somewhere beyond the rainbow is real, and that's where we're headed to, and that's why that song means something to you, and you cried when you heard it, and it's connected to you your whole life, because a part of you knew that what was being sung Somewhere Over the Rainbow by Judy Garland is absolutely the truth, right? And then that's essentially what they were showing you in the movie, is to have hope that this is going to change. This is going to change, but you have to start seeking the truth. You have to search for the Emerald City. And an emerald is a representation of eternity, eternal life with God. That's what the emerald and the Emerald City stands for. That's eternity. And who's running the Emerald City right now? It's just this little old white man behind a curtain. And you believe him because he's got a big loud voice. But Toto, you can't fool Toto, Tutu, 2020. He's got 20/20 vision. T is 20. So you can't fool Toto. Toto sees all. And Toto pulled back the curtain and revealed it's just a little white man. And then Dorothy went up and right in his face. And then she realized, oh my God, it was the same guy playing all these different roles all along the way. Wait a minute. Am I in a movie? And you were in it, and you were in it, and you were in it. You're going to do that one day. When you finally wake up, you're going to go, and Justin, you were in my movie back in 1832 when I was in Europe and I was, selling fruit in Prague, and you were there, and Aaron was there, and Colleen was there, and JB was there, and so on and so on. And that's what people are going to do. You're going to start to remember. You're going to wake up. You're going to see that these connective players have been in our movie all along, playing the different roles, and that's what you see. That's what it's going to show. So before we get started, I got to show you this brilliant thing about God's little old creation. Oh, who cares? We've all seen what do you call these again? We've all seen rainbows, so who cares? No big deal, Charlie. Yeah, it's the biggest deal ever. And here's why. So I'm just going to call this up and have this ready. And I'm going to go to share screen, double click on the one we want to see, share. Now you can all see it. Okay, so here's what I wrote. You have to hear this first, okay? Here we go. We'll go through this as quick as possible. Even the laziest, most dismissive mind knows that rainbows are quite magical. They're just too bored to actually do any research into what a rainbow is and how they form. However, if a rainbow does capture your mind and heart, you begin to look into them, and what you will likely discover is this. When direct sunlight illuminates from behind, when direct sunlight illuminates raindrops in the sky, a rainbow forms. However, we rarely are able to see rainbows because a rainbow can only be seen at a precise angle, requiring us to be at the right place at the right time. Oh, this precise angle required for us to see the rainbow is known as the rainbow angle, or in ancient culture, it was called the divine angle, which is at 42 degrees to see the primary rainbow, and at 51 degrees to be able to see a second, or what's called the secondary rainbow. So remember those numbers, 42 degrees and 51 degrees, because that's the pyramid, by the way, my friends. We are only able to see a rainbow when raindrops fall in the direction of 42 degrees from our shadow to the ground, and when the sun's elevation in the sky is less than 42 degrees above the horizon, unless you are on an airplane or on a mountaintop. When the sun's elevation is higher than 42 degrees, then the rainbow can be said to be out of sight, just below the horizon. And one other interesting note, the lower the elevation of the sun in the sky, the taller the rainbow will appear to be. The closer to the earth, the higher the rainbow appears to be. So to sum up, a rainbow is nothing short of a miracle, where a confluence of events must simultaneously occur for us to be able to experience this beautiful miracle. And the angle of 42 degrees from both us on the ground to the top rainbow's arc or arch the center of the arch, the highest point of the rainbow, must be at these 42 degrees. Okay? Let me just go back. And the angle, simultaneously the curve, and the angles are 42 degrees from both rods on the ground, and the top of the rainbow's arc or arch, and simultaneously less than 42 degrees from the same arc and the top of the same arc to the rays of the sun. Means that we must be in a state of grace to be able to envisage the miracle as the number 42. Since time immemorial has been represented of divinity. And in particular because the fact that Jesus Christ represents the 42nd generation from his earthly forefather, Abraham, through King David, through the rise of Babylon, to the height of Babylon, to the presence of Jesus, was 42 generations. And that's why the number 42, which is the opposite of 24, is the number of divinity. 42 means purity, righteousness, divinity. So it's essentially, it's that pathway or journey to heaven is that 42nd degree angle. Now, isn't that fascinating that to be able to see a rainbow requires two 42 degree miracles to occur? One, the sun has to be less than 42 degrees or less than 42 degrees from the top of the arch of the sun for us to be able to see it. And we must be able, on the ground, to be able to look up and see the rainbow at 42 degrees from our position on the earth to the arc of the rainbow. So, in other words, a rainbow is a freaking miracle. And 42 represents the miracle, which is this divinity, okay? If you look in the mirror, the mirrored number of 42 is 24. And 24 is the ancient symbol for alchemy.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you that symbol in just a second.
Fascinating.
Yeah, and real quick too, the rainbow also proves that we're living under the firmament, because it's light refracting off the bottom of the firmament. And then you also talk about mirror. If you ever seen a double rainbow, the rainbow that is on the top is the colors are mirrored from the rainbow below because of the reflection of the firmament back again. So and you could do these little studies with like a round glass, but yeah, it's also proven that we're on a level plane too.
Absolutely.
Great point, Aaron.
And when you look at the colors of a rainbow, that's why you'll always notice or see the red on top, because it's a mirror to what's happening on the earth. So the blue is below, blue being the sky and heaven, red being the earth and hell. So what we should see, if it was anything but a refraction, would be the blue on top and the red below, but that's not what we see. So with the primary rainbow, you're always going to see the red strip on top and the blue below, because it's a mirror. Think mirror. And then when you see the secondary rainbow, or Aaron, what did Aaron call it? The second rainbow above. When you see the secondary rainbow, it's another mirror. So then it's inverse, and you'll see the blue above and the red below. As a result. So again, rainbows are just pure miracles, miracles. And we dismiss them all the time because you've seen them before, so who cares? Like, why are you even telling me this, Charlie? Just, it's not that big of a deal.
So now each color has a different frequency, correct?
Absolutely.
So would that mean that it's also showing us the layers of frequency?
Yes.
7 colors, right? And we got 7 chakras.
Yes.
Seven, and that's right, and it's to the ascension, and so everything is about completion, which is an octave. So that's why all of these lessons in life are in scales, and that's why scales are always in sevens. 7 scales, so that you can complete them to go from the apprentice to the master. When you're a master, then you're an octave or an 8. An 8 is eternal. That's the master. Masters are eternal, possess eternal gnosis of one thing, and that's mastery, and that's why it's symbolized by the 8. So that's why scales are in 7s and mastery is 8, 7 and 8, and that's why you're showing it's right. And the 7 chakras, which is mirroring the inner side or the inner part of you. So again, it's just a miracle. So, and the mirror number is 24, which is the ancient symbol for alchemy, which is inner science that allows us to turn lead into gold by raising our essence or Christ consciousness high within us by the Kundalini rising until it has risen to the pineal gland, activating it, causing the black hole of space or the black sun within us to suddenly illuminate with divine bright white light. This miraculous moment within us represents the third ventricle of our brain, namely the optic thalamus, to become illuminated with this divine light, transmutating us into the light of the world. Now, let's look at the Great Pyramid in Egypt. Notice how there are two preeminent angles to the pyramid, one to the four corners from the capstone. And the angle from the capstone to these four corners of the pyramid is known as the primary angle to the pyramid. And then the capstone to the center of the sides of the pyramid is known as the secondary angle. So the angle to the four corners from the capstone of the pyramid is at, anyone?
42
I'll
degrees.
show it to you down below here. 42 degrees. These are the primary angles, okay? So to be able to see the primary rainbow, it's 42 degrees. And then the secondary angles on the pyramid, which are to the center points of the sides of the pyramid, are at 51 degrees, precisely as a rainbow is formed. So a primary and a secondary rainbow.
Weird coincidence.
What a weird coincidence. And pyramids, of course, are evil. So why don't we just go ahead and say it, Charlie, that rainbows are evil. And of course, now people hate rainbows. And remember, we were calling that back out in 2020 when there were truthers that were showing us how evil unicorns are because the cabal use unicorns in some of their show for predictive blah, 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 blah.
What did I say
so,
instantly? I'm taking it back.
Yeah, Colleen said that's bullshit. And these people are liars. And I'm taking back the truth of unicorns. And that's when Sarah came into our life, right? Virtuous unicorn. And so it's just insane what people will believe. So pyramids are evil, unicorns are evil. And now what have they done to the rainbow? They've muddied the waters with the rainbow because this LBG barbecue, what is that? BBQ, LBBQ, GT, UFTYZ, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever this gay, I'm a horse and you can't tell me I'm not a horse community is, or whatever all this shit is. That community is all about rainbow pride, and gay pride is rainbow. And now people go, I hate rainbows. I hate rainbows. Rainbows are evil because it's associated with this gay community and the barbecue community and the LBGTYZ community. And so pyramids are evil and the all-seeing eye is evil and unicorns. Holy shit, don't you get it? Don't you now see so clearly that what they do is they pervert that which is the most magical and best of us and turn it upside down, which is what they've done
Well,
for Freemasons.
I think what we should do is just go back to looking at the fact that we're all angels underneath the rainbow. We're all beautiful, magical,
Yes.
instead of focusing on
And
the
we
things that divide us.
and we forgot everything. So we forgot everything, and that's why the song title is Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Yeah. Way up high. Dreams and dreamland does exist. The way you need it and want it, the way it has to be for you, it's there and it's real. But it's over the rainbow because you have to rise. You have to rise. And what does the pyramid do? That's what the pyramid does. It rises to what? A single point, which is the capstone. So the capstone is God. The capstone is the all-seeing eye. And that the further you are down on the base of the pyramid, the more of a victim you are. And you play the role as doing all the grunt work in life because you bear the weight of everybody else that's now rising above you to take a greater piece of the pie. And so the whole purpose to the pyramid is to rise. That's why pyramids are built the same way as a rainbow. And what does a rainbow do? It rises and falls somewhere to a better land. But you have to rise to be able to receive the gift. So everything is about the rising, and that the divinity of both pyramids and rainbows is this primary angle of 42 degrees, which means divinity, God, perfection, grace, righteousness. and that the other is 51 degrees. And again, what's 51? 51 is 317s, Q, right? 317s is spells. So it's either a white magic or a black magic spell. And this is how you cast spells. This is why the pyramids are constructed this way. And that's why the secondary angle is at 51 degrees, because it's a broadcast frequency. It's a broadcast angle, so that it's sending out these white magic spells. And why are pyramids all built on ley lines? So that these energy lines upon the earth, which are rivers of flowing frequency or energy, are able to then take these magic spells and cast them further and further and further and further and further. And they do this through weather balloons pretending to be satellites, and you know, different radio waves and microwaves and TV waves and all of these things to weigh you down. We use magic. They have to use trickery and fakery. They use physicality. We use metaphysicality. And that's what we children of Abel are, and that's what we're capable of doing. So again, this is the divinity of it. So let me just quickly finish what I started here, and then we're going to move on to the show, which is incredible. So the sun, nothing rainbow, this miracle represents, yeah, okay, now let's look at the pyramids in Egypt. Okay, so in other words, it takes an act of God triggered by your vibrational frequency being in alignment to God for this miracle to occur. And in fact, this is precisely how all miracles occur. When we take steps to transmutate our inner reality, our outer world changes to reflect this new alignment to God. So whatever you do inside of you determines what will happen outside of you. That's how this world is. It's an inside-out reality, not an outside-in, which they've lied to you about, and everyone believes that you've got nothing to say or do in this world. You just have to take what they shovel at you all day. When the truth is, whatever you believe and know powerfully becomes your reality, and the out there world will reflect your inner gnosis. So what JB was saying earlier today, you know, it starts with belief, and that's true. Whatever you believe ultimately becomes your reality. But where you can powerfully manifest, co-create in the moment anything you want is when you know. And to know, you have to know that God is real. And you have to know that God is real because you become into alignment with God. And truth be told, when we meditate and achieve a state of absolute stillness and silence just before we begin our inner journey, we can observe what appears to be a rainbow-like structure that reveals itself out of the coming white light in our mind. And this is the true inspiration to the lyrics of the famous song, The Wizard of Oz, Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And if you examine the lyrics of this song, you will discover that the words chosen for the song comply with these godly rules of how a rainbow forms, such as the song's first line. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Way up high signifies the 42nd degree arch of the rainbow at its highest point, and that and the land that we once heard of in a lullaby is a place called Pineal, where we meet God face to face in a state of absolute silence. That's what lullabies do. They put you into a state of grace, which is a state of stillness and silence. That's why we sing children to sleep through lullabies. We put them